Welcome everyone to another episode of Culture Cooking. My name is Chef Jacobsen Valentine. I'm the founder of Feed the Mass, a local food revolution organization here in Portland, Oregon. I've been doing this cooking thing for about 13 years now, and I've also been teaching cooking classes for about the last 5 years. It is my passion to inspire people to care about what they cook and what they eat. One of the biggest things that we're going to talk about today is food is one of the most obvious ways we experience cultural influence every day. Here on Culture Cooking, we go to the roots of where food comes from and teach you how to cook popular dishes from different cultures with ease and happiness, because when it's easy and you enjoy it, you're more likely to do it. We are hosting these gatherings on a monthly basis through June. We'll be adding more classes as the year progresses. You can find more information about us on feedthemass.org/classes. Link also available in the chat. I want to thank today's sponsor, the FED program. The FED program is part of the Feed the Mass family, providing healthy, chef-prepared meals 7 days a week at no cost to the community. Each week, our volunteers deliver more than 6,000 meals to people across the region. A little backstory. So last year, cooking classes, of course, if you guys do our cooking classes, had to stop around March. And we tried to figure out a way we can help the community. So what we did was we took our last $500 and bought a bunch of food and we fed people. And then from there, people started donating. We started getting connected with restaurants and businesses and grocery stores. And now we are doing about 6,000 meals per a week, 7 days a week. And this is huge because there's a lot of people in our community that are food insecure, not just the houseless community, but people who do have houses. And right now we are celebrating our first birthday, and we are doing a membership drive. This is a way for people to actually donate towards our organization on a monthly basis to help create sustainability. If you want more information, please go to feedthemass.org/fed, and you can also go to the feedthemass.org/members to become a member today. All right, also, we are excited to have Angela Okars, our operations manager for Feed the Mass. She is amazing. She is joining us this evening. Angela, why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself to everyone and share a little bit about what you're doing with Feed the Mass and the program, the FED program.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Angela Okars. I am the operations manager at the FED project. So a lot of what I do is kind of organizing the whole thing. So I organize the drivers and the volunteers and kind of plan with the kitchen to figure out what our meals are going to be. It is a really incredible organization. I feel very, very lucky to be a part of it. And it's just inspiring to be there every single day. And so it's kind of like around March, once we switched everything over to being more about getting people all of their meals for free, we started providing about 170,000 meals since then and rescued about 100,000 pounds of food. We use a process called urban gleaning, which is where we kind of go take food from grocery stores that would be normally throwing it away, and if it has an expiration date to about 5 days, then we can take it within those 5 days, turn it into 600 meals, and then it is saved. And then our volunteers, which are the absolute most amazing thing. I know some of you are in the group right now. Hi. You guys have contributed over 15,000 hours of your time to this project, which is mind-blowingly beautiful. So yeah, we just really appreciate you and are happy to be here, and I will be answering any of your questions that you have.
Perfect. Thank you, Angela. Angela will be monitoring the Zoom chat box, so feel free to share your thoughts and we'll be addressing them as we go. Also, make sure you say a little loving things to Angela because she is working so hard for the community. While we're preparing meals tonight, we love to hear what you're enjoying most about cooking. Please share your thoughts in our chat. Also, if you're doing stories, go to Instagram, go to @FeedTheMass and tag us. Also tag in Feed the Mass, #FeedTheMass. And then on top of that, please, again, thank you everyone who is joining us tonight and cooking with us. Several volunteers, like Angela was saying, is joining us tonight. Thank you guys for volunteering. I know it's really hard sometimes to have to deal with, on top of COVID, how do you spend your days? And I think, being able to come out and volunteer with us is super important. Also, if you guys are in this chat and you want to show a little love to them, please use the heart emoji. Shout out people who are on there. Also, if you are a volunteer, can we put a little praise sign up in there? The 2 hands, I think that's what the praise sign is. I'm still learning emojis, sorry guys. Let's get into our main dish. Tonight, we are going to Italy, the birthplace of one of the most popular dishes in the world and the #1 dish that everyone asks me how to make, pizza. So the term pizza was first recorded in the 10th century in a Latin manuscript in southern Italy and comes from the root word paesia, which means blackening of the crust by fire. Today, this simple yet delicious and affordable creation is now a $5 billion industry across the globe. Some fun facts about pizza. The first pizzeria in America, Lombardi's, opened in 1905 in New York City and is still operating today. Another fun fact, pizza didn't become popular in the United States until after World War II, when American soldiers who were stationed in Italy brought back the idea back to the cities and towns across the country. Today, 21,000 slices are eaten every minute. Before we get started, please, if you can, go to your oven. It should be preheated to 425 degrees. So I'm gonna get that started because we wanna make sure we start with a warm environment for what we're about to be creating, which is our pizza. Let's go over a couple things. I wanna go over what we have going, tools you're gonna need for today. So, first tool, of course, is going to be a bowl. You need this to do all your mixing, super important. Next, you're going to need a bench scraper. This is optional. I like using a bench scraper because you can divide things pretty easy, and you can also scrape any extra dough off of your table, and it helps a lot. So, on top of that, we have our sheet tray. So, our sheet tray is one of these items that everyone should have. They should have these at least in different sizes, and it makes baking things a lot easier, even roasting things. So sheet trays definitely should have. Whisk. Now, I usually, when it comes to making mashed potatoes, I use a whisk more than a masher. I find they're very versatile, and they're really cheap. They're like, $3. So make sure you have a whisk, or if you don't have a whisk, grab a masher so you can mash up for our sauce later. Now, this is an optional tool as well. The chopstick is one of my favorite mixing tools. I can mix eggs, I can make doughs with it, and this is gonna be an optional tool. You can also use a fork, a butter knife, or of course, your hands. Rolling pin. This is something that everyone should have. If you don't have a rolling pin tonight, it's not the end of the world. I'm gonna show you guys how to do it without a rolling pin. But you can also use a wine bottle, a large can, anything that's cylindrical and you can roll with your hands with ease. That's a good way to go with. And then for those of you who haven't bought pre-shredded cheese, you're gonna need a cheese grater, but if you don't, get the pre-shredded stuff. It saves so much more time. All right, and then the last but not least, the toaster oven, or your oven. I use a toaster oven because we can't have an oven in here yet. So if you have an oven, make sure it is well calibrated. If you notice your oven has some cold spots or it takes longer for things, cooking isn't really much of a science, as you need to kind of just be able to see, oh, is my pizza done? Does it need more time? This is something that you're gonna probably have to go with and just kind of look and be like, okay, is my pizza almost ready? And I would say that would be the best thing to go with. All right, so before we get started, we have our first question. Who is making pizza for the first time? If it's your first time, please throw some thumbs up in the air. And I want to have Angela. Angela, could you read out some names for the first timers, because I want to, give them a shout out.
Yeah. So we've got Karen and Joseph, and we have Orlando as well, and let's see Peggy McNulty.
Is that Peggy?
That's Peggy.
That's Peggy. Ah, yes, go Peggy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for all your first timers. I hope this isn't going to be your last timers, so we're glad you guys are here. Let's start doing the dough making. So give me a second, I'm going to clear off, and we're going to start making our dough. So the first ingredient we're going to talk about is our flour. Now, Good flour is sometimes hard to come by, so what this recipe is going to call for is some just regular all-purpose flour. All-purpose flour is awesome because you can find it really cheap, and it's one of those things that is very accessible. Now, if you're going to be using any other kind of flours, make sure you identify their hydration level. Some flours, such as whole wheat flour, takes a lot of water, so make sure you just adjust as according you need for it. Next, we need also a warm area. So this is kind of an ingredient. A warm area is going to be is going to be super helpful for what we're going to be doing because we need to make sure our dough has some warmth to rise. Kind of think of it as a baby. A baby doesn't like to be cold. You got to give it a warm place for the baby to kind of grow in, a warm home. This is the top of your oven. That's an easy way to go with. All right, so next thing, of course, we have our water. This is perfect. We want it to be kind of bath warm water. So think about it as like you're hopping into your shower. You don't want something that's super cold. You don't want something too hot. You want something just right. So if you're going with a thermometer, you're gonna look at about 110 degrees is what we're going for. Next, we're going to start blooming our yeast. Now there's tons of different types of yeast. There's natural yeast. There are starters. Today we're using fast-acting yeast. This is going to be the easiest way to go about it and really quick. So you can find these really cheap in your store and they already come pre-measured. So we need 1 packet or 1 teaspoon of yeast. Put that right into our warm water. We're going to wake them up. Now the next thing we're going to be adding into this is yeast needs food. So the yeast's best food is actually sugar. So with this sugar, we're going to add that into our yeast. We're going to grab our chopstick and we're going to mix it up. Nice and easy. There we go. Now we're going to wait for the yeast to bloom. It's going to take a little bit of time. And with this, we're looking at about a minute and you'll start to see them start to float from the bottom up. That means it's activating. Now, if your yeast doesn't start to float, you're going to want to probably have to switch out your yeast to a new packet of yeast. It could be that it's dead, but just give it a couple minutes. If it doesn't start floating, then we have a bigger issue. All right, so throw this away. Beautiful. Now, next thing we're going to do is we need to season our flour. This is super important because one thing that if you've ever been to a pizzeria and it's not been delicious crust, it's because they probably didn't salt their flour enough. So what we're going to do, 1 tablespoon of salt directly into our flour, take our chopstick, and we're just going to mix it up. Take a moment, mix up your flour. Now, another thing I like to do, I'm going to put this into a bigger bowl real quick. I got big hands, I can't do these little bowls. All right, next thing we're also going to do is we want to make sure we use our hand and break up any clumps. Just take your time. Break up any clumps that are in there. We don't want clumps in our dough because the last thing you want to do is bite into your pizza and there'll be a clump of flour in there. That's not really tasty. Now you could go fancy and use a sieve if you want to, but I think your hands are a lot more fun and it's kind of like relaxing. We want relaxing right now. You probably just got off work, long day behind the computer in your office at home. So we want you to kind of relax a little, get these clumps out. All right, so as you can kind of see right here, our yeast is kind of floating right on top, so they're activating, that's good. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put about a tablespoon of olive oil into our yeast. And what that's gonna do is gonna help give a little bit of moisture in our dough. So regular bread, if you've ever had like really crunchy bread, mainly because they don't have a lot of fat in it. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little fat to kind of give a little bit of chew. We don't want it to be too crunchy. We don't want it to be too flaky, kind of like biscuits. We want that little middle part. So it's kind of like the best breadstick of your life has fat in it, and that's what we want to go with. So we have our flour, dust off our hands. All right, beautiful. We have our flour. Move this around so everybody can see. We have our chopstick, and we have our yeast mixture with a little bit of oil, salt, sugar, yeast. And then we're going to slowly add in our mixture. Now, you could use your hands. So if you don't have a fork or a knife, or you just want to get messy, you can use your hands. But I always find that it's really hard to like get your hands clean because it starts looking like the Hulk. You got those Hulk hands of dough. Don't want that. It's not fun. You waste a lot of your dough in the sink. Plus, dough actually, when they go into your drain, it expands and it creates a really big clog, and you don't want that. So I'm saving your parents a little bit of money having to call a plumber. All right. So we're watering our dough up, slowly adding it all in. It's nice and happy. All right. And all we're doing is bringing in the wet dough into the dry. Just take your time. We ain't got to rush. This process is kind of important. We do this first because we're also going to let this rest for about 30 minutes. So we need this to be kind of the first thing we do. Everything else is going to be pretty simple. All right. So most of the wet and dry are combined. They're looking amazing. So we're going to take our chopstick, get all that extra dough off. And then, so you can put this on your clean counter. Make sure, of course, it's a clean counter. And then we're going to flip this. I'm using a silk pad. These are awesome because you don't have to really dust flour onto your countertop. So if you don't want to mess up the hydration level on your dough, you can have a silk pad. They're awesome. They cost like $30 and they last forever. So we're going to toss our dough onto our countertop. All right. And we're going to pat our dough, and it's nice and warm. That's a good sign. If your dough isn't warm, you're going to probably take a little bit longer for your dough to rise. All right. So next thing we're going to do is we pat and we fold. We push, turn, fold, push. Fold, push. Once it starts looking like a hot dog, turn it around, turn it into a hamburger, fold it one more time into a hot dog, and turn. Fold, push. Now, all these little extra bits, we want that into our dough. So kind of grab it, push it into our dough. And this is kind of like, Tai Chi. Just go with the flow, press, turn, press, turn. There we go. This is perfect. And it's going to start forming into a nice dough. If it's a little tacky, it's okay. All right. So we get all these little bits. All right, here we go. So one thing I want to do while we're doing this is I want to ask you guys, how are you doing? Because I think this is super important right now. I know for a lot of you, this might be your first time. So I wanted to see if you have any questions right now, this is the time. Please add it into the chat. I'm pretty sure, Angela, do you have any questions so far in there?
I have, someone doesn't have a silpat. Will parchment work?
I think the one thing with parchment is it does kind of like get wet really quickly, and if your dough's super wet, it starts to kind of peel off. So I would say if you don't have a silk pack, just use your countertop. It's not the end of the world.
We also have another question about the yeast blooming,
Yes.
what that looks like exactly, what they should expect.
So it should kind of look like if you ever had root beer, it's that little foam on the top. I think that's the best kind of idea of what you're looking for, is that nice foam on the top of a beer, or a root beer. Sorry, not a beer, a root beer. Because we're, this is a kid-friendly channel. Anything else?
Someone is concerned that their dough may be too wet.
All right, so if your dough is a little too wet, which can happen, you're gonna take your flour, and first thing I like to do is take our flour, rub it in your hands. Kind of get any extra dough that's on your hands, because sometimes if it's too wet, you have a lot of dough on your hands. We're gonna rub it into our hands. Then we're gonna rub it onto your dough, and we're gonna go knead. And if it starts to still be sticky, add a little bit of dough until it gets to the right texture where it's not sticky and it's kind of firm. That's what we're looking for. A little firm, but still soft. Or as they like to say, supple. It's a weird word, but I like it. It's like the best example. So, does that work? Did they say anything back? Is that working? Let me know if it works.
It looks very stringy at this moment. Well, not stringy, but it looks very elastic is a great word for it.
Okay, so if it's very elastic, it probably, I would say go with like another like quarter cup and see if that kind of starts to bring it all together. Sometimes if your measuring cups are not correct, like this is a really big important thing to talk about. Measuring cups. A lot of people use liquid measuring cups versus dry measuring cups. So they do make a big difference, because if you're measuring dry stuff in here, these are not as accurate when it comes to measuring dry things. So when we are measuring anything, we want to use dry measuring cups, which the handle nice and even, not the liquid. So if that's an issue, also make sure you're using the right measurements. Sometimes it may look, or it might be old and you don't have the, you might think it's a 1, it could be a 1.5. So that could be also an issue. So make sure you're measuring out your liquids and dries correctly. All right, so I'm gonna put these on the side. Anything else? All right, perfect.
Someone has a question about, they missed when the olive oil goes in. Did it go in already?
Yes, olive oil went in with the yeast and the sugar after it started blooming. So if you forgot to add in your olive oil, it's okay to add it in now. It's not the end of the world. But you're gonna have to do a little bit more work to kind of get it evenly distributed while you're building your gluten in your dough.
I need to know how much sugar and where it goes.
Okay, no problem. So sugar, you're gonna be needing 1 teaspoon of sugar. And you're going to need 1 teaspoon of sugar, and it goes into your warm water and yeast, because that's what's going to actually start blooming your yeast. We're going to finish rolling out our dough. Our dough is going to be nice and smooth, kind of like this. We're going to take our glass bowl, or whatever bowl you have, and we're going to give it a little grease. All right? So with this, we're going to make sure the walls of the bowl get grease. We're going to add a little more olive oil on top. And this is going to prevent the dough from sticking to the walls as it rises. All right, so if you have your container or your bowl have some actual lid, then put the lid on top. If not, we're going to use a little bit of cling wrap. Perfect. All right, and we're going to put this onto our oven and let it rise for about 30 minutes. So you're going to set a timer once you're all done making your dough. Let's come together. And we're back. Hey guys, how are you guys doing? So the first thing I want to do is ask, how is your dough doing? So this is a good time right now. We're going to have you guys kind of like, if you have questions, put a hand up. We're going to put you guys on, and we're going to kind of do a little quick check-in, see how you're doing with your dough. All right, so who we got first, Angela?
We've got many thumbs up.
Many thumbs up. All right, so our dough is going forward. All right, so while the dough is rising, quick question for you guys, and we're going to do a quick poll. All right, guys? Which dough do you like? Which kind of crust do you like? Do you like thin crust or thick crust? We're gonna do a quick poll. So if you're a thickie, put in thick. If you're a thinny, put in thin. Right now.
Still, the answers are still coming in, but I will say, as a Chicagoan, I'm a thick pie gal.
You want the pie crust?
Yeah,
okay.
You know, it's a special occasion pizza. It's not an everyday pizza, but it is delicious.
I'm not gonna lie. So last year, I went to Chicago for the first time. I am a Chicago Bears fan, so Chicago Bears, let's go. Dub Bears. So when I was down there, I did get 2 Chicago pizzas. And I'm not gonna lie, there is a feud in Chicago. And I don't know if you know about this feud. There's two places you can get the best Chicago pizza. Angela, do you know what their names are?
Gino's East
Yes.
and Lumalnati's.
Illuminati's. I call them the Illuminatis. Yes. Oh my gosh. So if you ever go to Chicago, go to both. Tell me which one is your best. And if you've ever had one of those, I want to know which one you thought was the better Chicago pizza. All right. So we're going to go into our next part, which is going to be our sauce. So actually, before we get into that, so what did people say? What was the vote?
We've got majority thin. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm actually really surprised. Okay. I'm all about that thick crust. I love to dunk my pizza in ranch and the crust, the giant crust in ranch. I'm from Gresham. We call it Gresham gravy, but what you know about that? All right, so everybody's laughing behind. It's hilarious. All right, so now let's get into our sauce. So the sauce is super important because this is kind of the moisture that keeps everything nice and soft while it's baking. This is the best part. So let's go over ingredients real quick. So we have our canned tomatoes, which are just regular tomatoes that have been crushed. We have tomato paste. Now this is one of my favorite things, tomato paste in a tube. It's kind of like toothpaste tube, but it keeps your toothpaste or keeps your tomato paste from going bad. Because I don't know if you guys ever had this, but like you go in and you only need a tablespoon of tomato paste. Then you put that can back in the fridge. And if you're like me, you're lazy, so you leave the lid in the can and then it grows an afro. If that has happened to you, please give me a thumbs up or a praise sign like a hallelujah or amen. Because that has always happened to me. I think I literally spend hundreds of dollars on tomato paste a year because it always goes bad. But this is your easy way, is by getting tomato paste in a toothpaste tube. And it's $1 more, but I'm pretty sure this is gonna save me hundreds of dollars. So if you wanna save yourself some money, don't go to Geico, just buy your toothpaste in a tube. There we go. Next ingredients we have is our oregano. So we're using dried oregano. You can use fresh oregano if you want, but I have tons of this stuff, so we're gonna go with dried oregano. We have our olive oil, which is 4 tablespoons of olive oil. And then we of course have our basil, which I love basil fresh. It's gonna be coming that season soon. We got like 3 more months and then basil's gonna be galore. Trust me, we're gonna do a lot of pesto classes. It's gonna be epic. So we're gonna actually first start with chopping our basil. So the first thing we're gonna do is take our basil and we're gonna do a cutting technique called chiffonade. So we're gonna take our leaves, we're gonna lay them down right on each other. And one after another, we're gonna be particular. All right. All right, so from there, what we're gonna do is we're going to roll from lengthwise up, kind of like a sleeping bag, if you're, camper. All right, so we have our little camping bag of basil. And then with our knife, we're gonna slowly and carefully cut really thin ribbons. So again, if you're cutting anything, we're gonna put our knife tip down, push our knuckles out, put the blade right next to our knuckles. We're gonna look on this side of our knife because it's super important. If any part of our finger on that side and we go down, it comes off. It's kind of the rule about knives. So, take our tip of our knife down, we're gonna cut. Nice, thin ribbons, taking our time, measuring. If it's not thin, it's all right. It's not the end of the world. We're here to learn, we're here to get through this. But again, take your time. All right, so we're gonna take our little ribbons of basil and we're gonna give it one more chop, all right? So I do like the 4 chop roll, kind of like 1, 2, 3, and then 1 across. Super easy. So they're not like, we're gonna turn them in kind of like a loose confetti, kind of like streamers. I like it. All right, so we're gonna take our basil, gonna add it right into our tomato, well, I guess our crushed tomatoes. Now, there's different types of tomatoes you can use. If say you want to do this fresh tomatoes, make sure you dice it really small and then crush it. You can also use a food processor. It's really easy with a food processor, but I'm all about the hands or a simple tool such as a whisk or a masher to kind of make our sauce today. So with this, we're going to add in our 4 tablespoons of olive oil. Drizzle it in. Oh, and olive oil is kind of super important because we need a little bit of fat to keep things from burning. So good quality olive oil, super important because we're talking about taste, and the better quality olive oil, the better, I would say. But if you don't have olive oil, you can also use like regular vegetable oil if you want to, avocado oil, grapeseed oil, whatever oil you have in there. Just make sure it's something that you like tasting all the time. We're gonna take our oregano, dust it in there, beautiful. And then we're going to take our I keep saying it, tomato paste, and we're going to do about a tablespoon of tomato paste in here. Now what tomato paste is, it's a concentrated form of tomatoes. They've roasted it down, it's stewed together, it's really good flavor of tomato, and it kind of gives a little bit more richness to our tomato sauce. So if you are not capable right now to kind of use like a masher or a whisk, a food processor, like I said, will make this easy. Throw it all into a blender, press on, and it's done. So we're gonna mix this. We're gonna smash any big lumps of tomatoes in there. Get that smashing on. And we're gonna mix. Kind of creating that like almost a little bit of an emulsification. So with your masher, you kind of mix it up, or you can use a whisk. Mix it up, and we're gonna kind of put a little energy into our sauce. Get this kind of mixed up real nice. Beautiful. And it's that simple. Now, the next thing we're gonna do, of course, super important, we're gonna taste it. We haven't put any salt in here because, again, a lot of our toppings have salt in it, such as our cheese and also our dough. So we're not gonna throw a lot of salt in there, but if you notice that it's super bland or anything like that, add a little salt if you want to. So we're gonna get a spoon, get a little taste. That's super good. So make sure it tastes good. If you want a little salt, I'm not gonna tell on you, I swear. Throw a little salt if you want to. But I think this is perfect. All right, so that is our tomato sauce. We're gonna put this on the side. One of the most important things, let this rest for at least 15 minutes. So the dried oregano has some time to absorb some of the flavors. Because if you throw this right onto your pizza, you have a chance of burning your oregano, which is not good. So don't let it kind of sit and be merry. Let everything kind of come together, because like anything with tomatoes, it's kind of like marinating itself. I love that. So let it sit for a little while we make our toppings. But while this is happening, do we have any questions, comments, concerns, Angela?
We have a very wonderful compliment from Nicole and Carl that says that you are the Bob Ross of cooking classes.
Oh, Bob Ross, man, I'm no joke. Without this product in my hair is getting big. So one day the Bob Ross fro will come out. So thank you guys, I appreciate it. All right, any other questions, comments, concerns? Everybody's happy?
That's it thus far.
All right, so we're gonna do a dough check. I wish I had like a graphics dough check. But so as you can see, our dough is still kind of rising. It's almost about, I would say, 1.5 times its size. And this is perfect. We know it's working. So if your dough hasn't risen any, let me know, throw a hand up. Again, we're putting it on top of a warm space, so like on top of your oven. You can even like put a blanket warmer or something like that. But if anybody having any problems with their dough, please let us know. Any problems, Angela? Or even better, if your dough's amazing, put a thumbs up. Everybody's a lot of thumbs up, I'm guessing, because Angela's like giggling over there.
I've got some thumbs up. I've got some terrified looking faces. Someone said that theirs is not rising.
Okay. Could we bring them on real quick? Can we talk a little bit? I wanna hear a little bit more information. See if we can address and like kind of doctor this situation up.
It's me, the girl with the bad yeast.
Oh no!
Should I
chuck it? It's not rising?
No. But
okay, do me a favor.
It's kind of cold in here. But
Okay.
I did put it above the oven, and I just got out a heating pad. Is all love lost? Should I just scrap the crust and just eat the sauce?
I mean, you could, but no, it's not all lost. So do me a huge favor. Go with your finger and
Yeah.
stick it in your dough. Is
Stick
your
it
dough
in.
warm?
It's not warm.
Okay, so it's like lukewarm.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want you to do, and this is gonna sound a little crazy, but is your bowl that it's in oven safe? Like a metal
Rubber on the
bowl
bottom. It's a metal bowl that has rubber on the bottom.
with a rubber bottom? Okay, so what we're gonna do, and this is an easy fix, see if you have anything that's oven safe, and what I want you to do is transfer your dough onto like a casserole bowl, something like that, and then cover it and throw it in the oven for literally 3 minutes. I'm gonna jump start the heating process inside of it, just to see if it doesn't change in those 3 minutes, then we're gonna take it out and you're just gonna have a really flat pizza. It's not bad.
It's called flatbread then, right?
It's flatbread. There you go. There you go. All right.
Okay, so it's in here, and I'm gonna put it in the oven. Do I cover it or no?
Cover it. Yeah, cover it with a towel or a lid, and then put it in there, like I said, for like 2 to 3 minutes, just to see if it
Okay.
kind of kickstarts the cooking process.
All right. Oh, 425, right?
It's
Holy
fine.
shit.
Yeah, your oven's at 425. That's why we're only putting it in for a
Yeah.
really short time.
I accidentally left last night's potatoes in there, and they're very crispy now.
Okay. I'm not going to judge you at all at this point, so don't feel like you're being judged. But yeah, we should always check our ovens before we heat it. So thank you for teaching the class a lesson. All right, so we'll come back to you in a couple minutes to kind of check on you. Anybody else have any problems with their dough? We have more?
Yeah, Peggy's dough is not rising.
Peggy's dough is not rising. Okay, can we put Peggy on? Peggy, you there? Peggy, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, hey Peggy, how are you doing?
Good.
We know we miss you. All right, so have you done the finger check and make sure it's kind of warm in the middle?
No.
No. Okay, let's do it. Let's check the temperature of your dough, see if it's actually warm. If it's not warm, you can kind of do the same kind of thing, kind of put it in the oven, kind of jump start it up a little bit to get the cooking, get the yeast activated. Is your yeast old?
I'm sorry, covered?
Yep, keep it covered and put it in the oven.
Okay.
And again, use it for like 2 minutes just to kind of see if it starts jump starting it.
Okay.
How old is your yeast, Peg?
Probably less than a year.
Okay. So here's a really good question. Where have you been storing your yeast?
It's in the fridge.
Oh, you put it in the fridge. Okay. So this is also a really important thing for everyone to know. Like if you're storing your yeast, keep it somewhere cool and dry. So Peggy did the right thing. She put it in the fridge. Sometimes also when you buy things in the store, they might also be on a rack for a long time. So you might have gotten old yeast a year ago. So it makes like super old. You don't know. But again, if your yeast isn't activating, I want to double check, Peg. Did you add sugar into your mix?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So we followed the instructions. Everything's okay. So we'll try the oven technique, see if it happens. We'll check on you in a couple minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Thank you.
Not a half flat pizza.
Huh?
If it doesn't work, I'll just have flat pizza.
There we go. It's still going to be edible. It's still going to be edible. I promise. All right. Anything else, Angela?
Yes, a question from Anita. Is Chef using fast active yeast and 3/4 teaspoon?
Yes, we're using fast acting yeast, and I believe in the packet it was about a teaspoon in there. So if you're using like the actual, I have to measure, it would be about 3/4 or whatever they have a measurement for like what a packet is depending on the yeast itself. But it should be about 3/4 of a teaspoon to a teaspoon. All right. Got more?
Yeah,
More?
well, that person had said that they had used 1 packet of regular yeast, which is 2¼ teaspoons.
Oh, okay. You might be having a very yeasty dough, but it's not going to be bad at all. Don't freak out if you put too much yeast into it. It just means it's going to be very like fluffy. So that's the only big issue. All right. So next, we just got done making our sauce. We're going to get into our next thing, which is ingredients. So we're going to actually wait because I know we have the first lady who had issues with her yeast not working. Is it starting to work? Did we do a quick check? Jessica, are you still there?
I am here.
Okay, how is your dough?
It's about the same. It's not even warm though.
Oh.
It's not even warmed. Maybe the bowl's too. I don't know.
It could be your bowl could be also absorbing some of the heat and stuff with that. So
I'll give it a little more time.
Yeah, give it a little more time. Just don't put it in for
Candle.
more than 5 minutes because you'll start the cooking process of your dough and then you'll just have a giant like hard dough ball. So don't do that. All right. So Peg, how we doing?
Well, I'm having the same, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Oh, I'm having, my bowl's warm, but the middle of the dough isn't particularly warm.
As in getting warm. Okay. Well, it's not a problem. Let's what we can do is again like don't leave. We can leave it in for a couple more minutes. But if anything, we'll just kind of keep working on it. And like I said, it'll just be a little bit flatter dough. Not the end of the world.
It's fine.
All right. All right. So before we get started on knife skills portion, I want to give you some more fun facts. Toppings are going to be our next part of our entire class, and they're in every country. There seems to be something unique about the toppings they decide to use. So in Japan, and this is kind of disgusting, but also I'm very intrigued, they like to put squid and mayonnaise on there. So my first question is, would anybody eat that? If you would eat that, please put a thumbs up, put a hands up. Katrina already said she's going to do it. I will try it, but if I don't like it, I will probably still eat it. I'm a fat kid. It's all right. All right. In Scotland, which I'm very surprised about this, they actually deep fry their pizza, and it's very popular, which I'm surprised America hasn't done that, the deep fried pizza aspect, but Scotland has beat us to it. Australia, they actually like to put eggs on their pizza, which I love putting eggs on my pizza. It's so bomb. It's so good. The egg yolk. It's that yolk thing where you just open it up and it's the best. And then in Cambodia, they have a thing called Happy Pizza, which I am super surprised in Portland, this is how you catch on, where they actually put marijuana on their pizza, which I am like super surprised about that. All right, so let's get some ingredients out. We're gonna start doing our toppings. So our first topping we're gonna have is mushrooms. These are shiitake mushrooms. I love these. Next, we have our mozzarella cheese. It's already pre-shredded because I'm a little lazy. We have our pepperoni because who doesn't like a good pepperoni? We have a red onion and we have bell peppers. But in the chat, I want to know, what do you have in your toppings? Let me know what toppings you guys picked out for tonight. Angela, what we got?
Black olives.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I like a black olive and mushroom combo. It's one of my favorites.
Black olive and mushroom combo. Sorry, that's the pizza train. I don't know if you guys heard. We're calling it the pizza train from now on. It's coming. All right.
Olives, mozzarella cheese, and basil.
Ooh, all right.
Anchovies.
Love anchovies.
Onions, peppers, and pepperoni. They say that they're basic. I say that it's classic.
Touche.
Green olives and mushrooms.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Black olive and mushrooms. They're doing veggie pizza for Lent.
Ooh, it is Lent.
It is Lent.
Right on. And Angela, what'd you say yours was?
I've never met a pizza I didn't like. So ultimately, I just really like a cheese pizza.
Okay.
But we do have some other options here. We've got onions. This person would love to try eggs on their pizza.
If you got an egg, I'll tell you how to do it.
We have ham and pineapple, delicious.
Delicious.
Sausage, olive, and spinach, which, ooh, that sounds good. Roasted garlic, capers, mushrooms, olive, and prosciutto.
Ooh,
Very
bougie.
Italian.
Someone's doing bougie pizza. All right.
Pepperoni and cipollini onion. I believe that's how you say it.
Oh yeah, cipollini onions. Yeah, they're like little baby onions. I love it.
Joseph has said durian and pineapple, but he's just kidding.
I would throw a pizza at you if that was true. All right, so just for whoever is on there, we're gonna do an egg on a pizza. Just because you said egg, if you want to do an egg and you have an egg in your fridge, pull out an egg. I'm gonna show you how to do that tonight. A little extra credit. All right. Anything else? Anything else good?
We have got olives, pineapple, and pepperoni.
Love it.
Ooh, like that combo.
Which, by the way, just because you put pineapple on something does not make it Hawaiian. I just want to let you know. I don't know who said this. I'm gonna take it back as a local Hawaiian. No, pineapple does not make a pizza Hawaiian. If anything, it has to be coconut or something, but it does not make it Hawaiian. Thank you. Or Spam. If you put Spam on it, that's definitely Hawaiian. Spam, nori, and rice, and just make a pizza out of it, win. All right, now that I've definitely made you all crack up, you probably have your ingredients ready. Let's do a little bit of knife skills. So, the first thing we're gonna do, get our red peppers. Now, red peppers are awesome because they are very versatile, they're sweet. Right now, they are, I think, 3 for $2 at Fred Meyer's, so make sure you're going out there and grabbing a little bit of your bell peppers. It's on sale. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna get our knife. Now, the most important thing about our bell pepper is we understand how the anatomy of a bell pepper works. So inside our bell pepper, there is this little like cubby of seeds in there, and we're gonna try to avoid it. So the best way to think about it is the walls of a bell pepper is about, I would say, 1/4 of an inch thick. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take our knife, we're gonna imagine 1/4 of an inch, measure it out. Remember, fingers tucked in, pushing down, knuckle placed against the blade. We're gonna measure, and we're gonna cut down. And yes, we've avoided the seeds, which is super important. And now we can see the walls of our bell pepper. So we're gonna probably do 2 walls. So nice and easy, avoiding the seeds, and we're also gonna cut off this white part. Now this white part right here, this actually causes a lot of indigestion, so if you have heartburn really easily, take this part out. It's not really flavorful, and it does create some indigestion. We don't want that. So the rest of this, we can throw back in the fridge in a Ziploc bag. It'll stay nice and firm as long as you keep it from drying out in the fridge. So put it in a Ziploc bag, store it back in your fridge, you're good to go. So from there, we're gonna take our bell peppers. Now, everybody for some reason has a tendency to take our bell pepper and place it skin side up. That is, unless you have a really sharp knife, is a very hard way of cutting the bell pepper. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip it, and this is the flesh side facing up. We're gonna take our knife, and we're gonna measure, and we want this kind of thin. So we're gonna do about, I would say, 1/4 inch, and cut. And you know it's gonna be super easy. Actually, this is a little bit thinner than 1/4 inch. I would say like 1/8 of an inch, or 1 centimeter if you're a metric. And nice and thin, avoiding our fingertips, knuckles out, taking our time. Beautiful. And you're cutting into the cutting board, so they're not stuck together. Super important. I didn't cut 2, there we go, we got it. All right, we're gonna stack up our peppers. Now, these are totally cool with going with toppings. I would even say if you wanted to, just because they're super tall, we're gonna cut these in half. Because remember, we want bite size. We don't want to have to like take a bite in a pepper and have to kind of break it with our teeth. Like you want something that once you bite into it, it's gone. So bite size peppers. Now the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make little dices. So this is gonna go, I would say a little bit more of a 1/4 inch size. And we're gonna stack up our sticks of bell pepper, stack them back up, and then we're gonna dice them. Nice and easy. Beautiful. Nice and easy. So either topping totally works. So I'm gonna make some room. I am going to need our little bench scraper because this is an easy way to move things from one place to another. We're gonna put our toppings back onto our tray or plate, or if you have little independent bowls, you can do that too. All right, so our next thing, our red onion. Now, I know you guys, this is hard because for some people, they cry a lot, but there is a trick to actually cutting onions without crying. The most important thing you need, of course, is a sharp knife. So, I don't know if you can see, but down here, there's like these little capsules. And in here is salicylic acid in there, which actually makes you cry. So if we have a sharp knife, it cuts through those little membranes and it makes it so it doesn't crush out and flow into the air, and then you smell it and then you cry. So a sharp knife cuts through those little bubbles of salicylic acid. So what we're gonna do, knife straight down, perfect. And then we're gonna cut the bottom root, nice and sharp, perfect. We're gonna put this into our trash. Now, you're gonna see these little lines on your onions. Now, a lot of people like to cut just, the widthwise, all the way through our onions. We're gonna go lengthwise. We're gonna follow these little lanes, and there's a big reason why. So I'm gonna show you an example. So this is one cut of red onion. And you're gonna see that there's like these little small pieces. These pieces might burn. This piece might be, a little overcooked, and that's not even. We want even cuts. So with this, we're gonna take our knife, and we're gonna go with the lines, cutting along. As thin as you want, as thin as you can. And you're gonna kind of see that you're gonna have a lot more evenness in your red onions. So again, nice and easy. Once you get about halfway, we just turn it over. Nice and easy. Taking our time, going from tip to butt. All right, I think that's plenty of onions. I don't want to onion out everybody. All right, we're gonna put that right onto our tray. Ooh, oh no, we almost got an explosion over here. All right, so as you can see, our dough is nice and taut and big and fluffy. I think we're almost ready. All right, so we're gonna pick up our onions. All right, so how are people doing? Is everybody okay? Angela, you got thumbs up? How everybody has all their fingers? Super important.
It looks good. Someone really enjoyed your knife tutorial.
Well, thank you.
Very happy with changing of the camera angles.
Oh, that's Martin. Martin's our director.
That's Martin. Thanks, Martin.
He's the man. He's the man behind the plan. So we're at the point right now where we're gonna start assembling pizzas, but I know that a bunch of you are kind of at your own pace. Don't freak out. Don't be like, I need to rush. It's okay. I know Peg and Jessica, you guys are stressing about your dough. At this point, I would say let's just roll it out. It should be rested enough to actually be fine. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit on the thinner side, not an end of the world kind of situation. But for those of you who your doughs are still rising or it's still not your 30 minutes yet, don't stress. Just watch, enjoy the making of things, and go at your own pace. Also, this is a really good time if you're waiting. Make sure you're going onto your Instagram and your social media, so Facebook, and you go to @FeedTheMass and like us. Make sure you're following us because I put a lot of videos going to be coming out starting next month, and I want you guys to be connected with us and be able to see what we're doing. Also, if you are doing Instagram, make sure you're tagging us at Feed the Mass, so we can actually see like your stories and we can share it and let people know how awesome your cooking is. And even if you feel right now it is like you're failing, failures are okay. They're still edible. So this is the best part about failing in the kitchen. You get to still eat the food. Don't stress, all right? So while this is all going, Angela, do you have any questions or comments and needs to be talked about right now?
Yeah, so someone is wondering, how do you know if your olive oil has gone rancid?
Ooh, that's a really good question. So your olive oil will actually kind of smell rancid in the sense of really bitter, also kind of stinky. So if you're not really sure, you should definitely check the last time you bought it. If it's been more than a year, and like sometimes if you put it in like a warm space or something where the temperature fluctuates, that could be also, that means your olive oil is not really good. So if you're not sure and you're just like, I think it smells funny, throw it out, go buy some new ones. That's like an easy rule of thumb, because having rancid olive oil actually can make you sick, and that's not something I want you to do. So if you're not sure, throw it out, get a new one. It's only like $8 or $10. You'll be all right. Any other questions? All right, let's make some pizza. So as you see, my baby has grown very quickly. Nice warm, remember our oven's at 425, so this is super important. If your oven's not at 425, we have a bigger problem, all right? You gotta wait till it gets to that 425. So we're gonna kind of let this fall out. Ooh, look at that baby. It's nice and fluffy and still warm. It's nice and happy. All right, so like I said, this is gonna be 2 medium-sized pizzas. We're gonna turn them into squares, so these are our 9 by 13 sheet pans. So we're gonna cut this in half, right down the middle. Now, if you're gonna be fancy, you can also weigh them to make sure they're equal. That's totally fine. We're gonna take our 1/2, put this on the side. All right, so we're gonna do the first one, which is the no rolling pin method. So the thing we're gonna do, we're gonna put a little olive oil in our pan. All right. Now, understand this dough recipe is very versatile. So if you're a big fan of focaccia, this is actually the same kind of like method. So you can actually make focaccia out of this dough, which is a totally different like cooking technique, but it's delicious. So we're gonna take our pizza dough. We're gonna pat it down. And all we're gonna do is from the middle and push out. There you go, from the middle, push it out. Super easy. Your dough should be nice and relaxed. And just push it from the middle out. Just stretch it out. All right, here we go. Beautiful. Just take your time, give it a good stretching. And if you got a hole, like, oh my gosh, I just made a hole, it's okay. We're just gonna pinch the hole, and push it down. See, no hole. All right, so this is gonna be our pizza by hand. I think it's a little rustic, it has character. It's not perfect, it's okay. So if you don't have a rolling pin, this is a totally perfect way of going about it. Next, the rolling pin method. First thing we're gonna need, a little bit of flour. All right, next, our rolling pin. All right, so a little dusting, nice and high. Make it snow, as they would say. Then we're gonna get our pizza dough. First thing you wanna do is kind of form it into like a small, thick version of your pan. Make it into kind of like a little rectangle. A little bit of dough on top, or a little bit of flour, sorry, a little bit of flour. We're gonna rub our rolling pin a little bit with flour so it doesn't stick. And then we're gonna roll it out, turn, roll it out, turn, roll it out. Nice and easy. And ain't gotta stress. In the words of Bob Marley, no worries about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be all right. So for those of you who have your flatbread, we're gonna do the same thing. Roll it out nice and thin. We want it to be about the size of our pan, so we're gonna go a little bit more. Nice and thin. Beautiful. And you see, nice and even. I would say even like almost kind of professional looking. Just take your time. Now if you have a wine bottle, same thing, use your hands. Press gently, don't force it. Just let it happen. All right, again, we're gonna put a little olive oil into our pan. Beautiful. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna measure up a little bit. We wanna make sure it's the size of the pan. And then any excess that you kind of see, just chop it off. Kind of make it a little bit more square. All right. Don't throw these away. We can make little garlic balls with these. These are awesome. I love making little garlic balls. So you can kind of like ball it up, throw it in your pan, a little extra snack. All right, so next thing, we're gonna do a quick little dusting. Nothing too crazy. We're gonna kind of roll it onto a rolling pin gently so it comes off. Put our sheet pan down and then roll it back out. There we go. All right. So again, adjust it ever so gently. And again, if you have some extra dough, just chop it off. A little bit of garlic knots ain't gonna hurt nobody. Beautiful. All right. If you want to like crimp it a little bit, make it look fancy, just use your fingers. Boop. All right, so we have our two types. We have our handmade and our rolled out. Both totally awesome. Both are gonna taste really good. All right, so clear off a little space. The first one we're gonna do is going to be the vegetarian. So we got our tomato sauce. Put this on the side. We have our toppings galore. Let's assemble. So, there we go. All right, so take a spoon, big spoon, any really big spoon, a ladle works just as good. We're gonna put this right into our pizza. Oop, the hole's popping up, no hole. We're gonna do about one, maybe and a half, and we're gonna just spread it out. And we want a thin layer. We don't want it to be super soaking. We want it to be just nice, give it a little bit of moisture in our pizza. We don't want a dry pizza. All right, I think this is pretty good. Maybe a little bit more, just a little, just a dab. Just a dab will do. All right, now, the next part. There is immense controversy when it comes to what goes first, toppings or cheese. Now, I personally am all about the cheese first, giving a landing strip for your toppings to kind of soak into, and also your toppings kind of protects your cheese, but there is no wrong answer. So whatever you want to go first, go first. If you want to make it like me, make it like me. So we can get our cheese. There we go. It's good sprinkling. We're not going to layer it in thick unless you are doing just a cheese pizza, then layer it in thick. But we want a good balance. Balance is a key to a good pizza. Here we go. Oh yeah. All right. So you can still kind of see the tomato a little bit, but we still want to be able to kind of, have space for our toppings to kind of sink through. All right. So we're gonna do some peppers. I'm gonna do the diced. Say the classic, as Angelique would like to say, a little classic peppers. And then we're gonna get some onions. Beautiful. And we're gonna do some shrooms. Edible shrooms, not the kind that, you know, kind of trip out on. None of that stuff. All right, so super important. If you want to cook your shrooms before and kind of give it a little more flavor, such as some butter or oil, some garlic, some more onions into it, maybe a little red wine or white wine, kind of really infuse your mushrooms, you can do that, or you can keep it simple. Either way, it's up to you. There is no wrong answer to this. All right, so that is our vegetarian. I think that looks amazing. I'm gonna do a little close up. No, yeah, Martin, good, beautiful, thank you. All right, Martin laughs because I like to make fun. All right, so next is going to be, I'm gonna do a half and half because we have, remember the egg? All right, so we're gonna do half pepperoni, half beautiful, like Australian egg pizza. So we're gonna get our tomato sauce. We've got those beautiful crimped edges, so we're not gonna go too crazy. Oh yeah, beautiful. It's nice and saucy, not too much saucy, but you know, just enough. Spread it out, beautiful. All right, so we're gonna go again. Oh, sorry, almost messed up. All right, we're gonna get our cheese. Beautiful. Now this is super important. We want a little less cheese on the side that's gonna be the egg, which is this side. This side's gonna be the egg, so a little less cheese, a little more cheese on this side. All right? We're gonna go with our pepperoni. Now I do the pepperoni first because I don't want this topping running away. So I want it super simple. I want it to kind of be topped with everything. So we're gonna kind of do a little bit of sandwich method. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. So I'm gonna make it even. I don't want any fights over pepperoni. Gotta think about the people you're cooking for. All right, we're gonna do a little more cheese, just a little dangle of cheese on top. All right, and then we're gonna do a little bit of onions. Beautiful. A little bit of peppers. Beautiful. All right, so that looks good. Maybe I'll throw a little mushrooms. Why not? We like mushrooms. All right, now we're going to Australian side. So we're gonna go and put a little bit of our peppers on the bottom. We're gonna go Australian with some mushrooms because we love mushrooms. All right, and then our egg. So this is super important. You want your egg to be at room temperature for at least, I would say 30 minutes. So this has been hanging out for a little while. Mainly because if we put this in nice and cold, the white of the egg will not cook fully by the time it's done with the pizza. So let this kind of get to room temperature a little bit before you actually put this on your pizza. So crack this on a flat surface, 2 fingers right into the middle, because we don't want to break the yolk. Right into the middle. Gorgeous. All right, so let's get this in the oven. Preheated, 425, it's nice and hot. You're gonna be careful. Gonna go right in. Beautiful. We're gonna set our timer to 15 minutes. Well, Angela, how are you doing?
Well, funny you should ask. I am terrible at cooking.
What?
I basically avoid it at all costs, but my partner is a chef, so I get to live in that luxury.
Mr. Cameron.
So his experience is what I can more so talk to. He baked a lot of bread, like many of us, I think, did during the pandemic. There were baguettes every week, and a lot of cooking projects that maybe we wouldn't have had time to do, but then had nothing but time. So we had like dumpling days, and we had pierogi days, and we had like long, slow cooked meat braises. And again, I'm not a cook, but I live with one and it's great.
Cooked braising days. I love it.
I did a lot of joke telling while Cameron was cooking. That was what my pandemic cooking experience was brushing up on the jokes.
Perfect. All right. Anybody else want to share their story, how they're doing? It doesn't have to be like super long. I just want to make sure you guys are okay. So anybody want to?
This is Nicole here.
Oh,
I,
who's this? Who's talking?
I guess I'll show my face. This is Nicole here.
Hey,
I kind of
Nicole.
with Angela. I had a similar experience where I felt like I had so much time that, like, why not spend a couple of hours cooking a meal that I would have never had the time before a pandemic and down. And I think I kind of got a little bit more experimental. I was trying new recipes that I never think I would have attempted before. And it was kind of a fun experience, and I think I've gained a little bit more confidence, but it also kind of got me back in touch with food and cooking, and I kind of found a new love for that I didn't really know that I had before.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Nicole, for sharing. That's really awesome. I think the experimenting is super cool, especially when you realize like there's no restaurants open, or I don't want to eat the same fast food restaurant again and again. You gotta like start opening up the cookbook. So thank you, Nicole, for sharing. I really appreciate that. Anybody else want to share their triumphs or troubles and tribulations? Actually, I have another question. We got someone?
Peggy would like to share.
Peggy, you there?
Yeah, hi.
Hey, Peggy.
Hi. Oh, put me on camera. So what I want to share is not necessarily how cooking has changed for me during this pandemic, because actually my boyfriend is the cook in the house.
Yes.
But I want to give a shout out to you and your organization, is that it gave me an opportunity to volunteer again and connect with people in a safe way. This past year has just been crazy. I found you kind of by accident. I turned on the TV in the afternoon one day, which I normally don't do, and they were showing a piece on your organization and what you were doing. And I was like, man, I want to hook up with that. So the next day, I searched, I think it was like on CBS or something, for the clip, and I couldn't find it. So I actually called them and said, hey, do you remember this guy? He's doing this, blah, blah, blah. And so they were, because I couldn't remember the name of your organization. So anyway, I was able to find it, and just thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Peg.
An opportunity to get out, reconnect with people. I do a lot of chopping. It's okay.
From what I understand, you're the master chopper in our group. So.
Well, I don't know about that, but.
Well, thank you, Peg. I really appreciate you. Awesome. We got one more. All right. Who we got next?
Giselle.
Giselle. All right.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to say, Chef Jacob, that you're actually the first meal we made in our home. The last year was rough, but this week we've been moving into our new home. So this is our first meal ever preparing in our kitchen. So we're really excited. It's pizza because we are huge fans. And me and my husband were just talking about doing Pizza Fridays. I just wanted to share that.
Yes. All right. Well, Pizza Fridays it is. I am so glad you guys got to be a part of like this class and creating a new tradition. I love this. Thank you guys, and congratulations on your new home. I hope it is amazing and is everything you guys need. And of course, before anything, I want to thank you again for being a part of this class. It means a lot, and I hope your little ones are enjoying the food and the process. So. All right, so before we get going on to the next question, our pizza is actually done. I know, we kind of snuck it in there a little bit. So we've taken our pizza out, it was about 3 minutes ago. We're gonna let it rest, so this is super important. A lot of people get the pizza out and they wanna cut into it. We want the cheese to kind of coagulate a little bit, because right now it's like loosey-goosey, and we want it to kind of stiffen up a little bit. So we're gonna let it rest. Also, you can kind of see our egg is nice and cooked, beautiful. Still got the little beautiful yolk on top. It's delicious. So we're gonna let this rest for a couple more minutes. I threw the second pizza in there. We got a timer going for it. So I wanna open up one more question for you guys before we get going. Tell me, what is the funniest mistake you've done last year during COVID when it comes to cooking? All right, I want to hear the funny mistakes, and I'll tell you mine. And man, what did I do funny last year? This is a hard one because I made a lot of mistakes last year. I think the funniest mistake I had was actually making pizza at home. I went over to my friend Mike's house and we were making pizzas. And we of course didn't understand that like when we when we made our pizza, we went to Papa Murphy's to get our pizza and we put it in the oven and we had the rack all the way next to the bottom of the element. And we said, hey, you know, that's totally gonna be fine until we started smelling smoke and the actual paper tray that our Papa Murphy's pizza was on fire. And mind you, he just moved into this place. So it's not even just like, oh, like, hey, the new guy's trying to burn the pizza place down, but, or the apartment place down. But yeah, so that was the funniest thing I think have happened mistake-wise in the kitchen. And I no longer trust Papa Murphy's toasting plates anymore. So there you go. Angela, give me a funny thing that happened to you.
I attempted to cook a breakfast, which was a ridiculous idea. I attempted to cook an elaborate breakfast. I attempted to cook a soy riso, biscuits and gravy with eggs on top, and too many things going on in the oven. Burnt the biscuits, overcooked the eggs, the gravy separated. And my chef partner, who I was trying to make this for, came upstairs and saw me just crying in the kitchen and said, "Go downstairs, take a cup of tea, get out of here. This is not. You tried, great job. It's not that bad. I will fix." And yeah,
He fixed it?
he fixed it.
It was biscuit crumbles.
He ripped off all the burnt parts of the biscuit, and he recooked the eggs, and
Cameron's amazing. If
Yeah.
you've ever met Cameron, I suggest to meet him. He's like the fluffiest red-haired man I've never known. Love that man. All right. Anybody got anything you want to answer? Oh, on Jessica. Oh, okay, Jessica. I hear I got to check on you. Everything okay, Jessica? What's going on?
It turned out really good.
Oh, it turned out really good. Okay. So
Yeah,
you,
it's
you
really
roll-
good. It's like a flatbread. I can show you. It
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
like the end of the world. I already ate a piece of it.
You already ate a piece of it? Does it look good? Okay, hang on. I want to see this. Oh, okay. Hang on. I'm getting the phone in here. Oh, that looks bomb. All right,
Yeah,
respect,
and it's
Jessica.
almost Passover, so it's kind of good that it didn't leaven.
There you go. I mean, it was God's way of saying no to this. It is not kosher.
Totally. Yeah, he was saying, no, your yeast will not rise.
There you go.
Jewish.
See?
We are not doing that right now. Just a little early.
I respect it. I respect his judgment. All right, thank you, Jessica. All right, so it has been about 5 minutes. It is time to start carving up this pizza. Angela, are you hungry? I know you're hungry.
Yes.
How does it smell for you?
It smells so delicious. It smells of the pizza places of my childhood. It smells of oregano. I'm delighted.
She is delighted. All right, so I hope the GoPro is ready because we're about to make some a little bit of food history over here. Oh no. Don't worry, it's okay. We're okay. Just need to turn this back on. We're okay. There we go. See, there's a safety feature in my toaster oven so it doesn't stay on too long, so it doesn't burn down the house. All right, so we're gonna take our little spatula, or actually it's called a turner, but we're gonna go with a spatula because it's a more of a everybody understands kind of term. Then we're gonna test, okay, this is good to handle. It's not too hot. And we're gonna kind of shift it on to our cutting board, not burning ourselves. Beautiful. All right, so we're going to cut this into 8 pieces. So we're gonna, of course, cut it in half because there's 2 different pizzas in here. Kind of hear that little crunch. Ooh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And cut this in half. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, so this is for Angela. Pepperoni pizza, looking good. This one's for Katrina. Beautiful. All right, here we go. You want to pass this out? Beautiful, thank you, beautiful. All right, so that was the 2. And I guess I will do the honors and join the ladies with a slice. Oh, listen. We're all getting an egg. It's a slow process. We're getting there. We're getting there. All right, so this is our pepperoni pizza. All right, here we go. Mmm.
That's delicious.
Good? Everybody's happy?
Absolutely.
Katrina, I swear, if you saw Katrina right now, she has like a face shield and a face mask on. I'm pretty sure she almost ate it that way. I'm pretty sure I almost saw that happen. But Katrina's gonna try. She's gonna go for it. Oh, this is so good. Nice and crunchy. Kind of see that like nice brownness on the back of, that's what we want. The dough is still super firm, but it's not like super flaky. The dough is well seasoned, so everybody loves the dough, right? Angela loves the dough. All right. So, for those of you who have pizzas ready, let me know how it is and get some thumbs up, some words of encouragement. And then the crowd pleaser, the egg pizza, the Australian one. All right, so we're gonna do one more. I'm trying to see how we can do this. All right, so easy way to make sure everybody has a fair shot at the egg. We're gonna break the egg. Oh, and oh yeah, oh yeah. Gonna break up that egg, kind of smear it so everybody gets a little bit of egg. Oh yeah. All right, cut it into quarters. Beautiful. No egg wasted. All right, ladies, you ready for your second? All right. Just like, yes, please. Here you go. I'm gonna go pass this on to Angela. Give me a second, y'all.
Ooh,
all right.
That's real eggy.
Very eggy. All right. Now let's try the egg one. All right. I'll let Angela get the first look. Oh yeah. I saw that cheesiness.
Oh, that's good.
All right, here we go. The first taste. Aussie's got it right. Eggs is the best. Oh my God. All right. This is, I'm gonna go home now. Y'all, I hope y'all have a good night. I'm just kidding. All right. So now that I have a bib, because I'm about to kill this, I wanna know, how is your pizza going? If you can, make sure you're taking pictures of your pizza, show the UV-ness, all these things. I really want to know, like, who wants to share this experience about tonight with a group of people? I want you really going onto your Instagram, sharing, hashtagging Feed the Mass, let everybody know, hey, this is something I made myself. A little knowledge from Jacob, but I made it myself. And this is the most important part about our classes, is you learn a little bit about, Italy, about how the people used to make these back in the day, how old this recipe is, and the fact that like you can actually do this at home with a few ingredients. I think for the most part, this entire meal was made less than 20 bucks. So if you guys love these classes, I really want you guys to check out our website, feedthemass.org/classes. I want you guys to make sure you guys also, if you guys want to get more involved with the Fed program, go on there, volunteer, and if you haven't already, be sure to become a member of the Fed program. Just to let you know, $25 a month, you can help us make 50 meals a month for the community, for free. Food insecurity isn't just in the streets, it is actually in homes as well. So I really want you guys to become members. Go to feedthemass.org/members and become a member today if that's something you're interested in. If not, no pressure, but I'd love for you guys to become a member. Also, I want to thank Angela. Angela, you've been a sport and you've been amazing. You've been a blessing to this organization. I'm so glad we've met and we get to work together now. It's and on top of that, we get to cook together now. So I'm super happy. So thank you, Angela.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. This has been great, and free pizza is free pizza. So.
Hey, can't go wrong. Also, to kind of give you guys a heads up, if you've really enjoyed this education experience and you want other people in our community to get the same experience, make sure when you click on to get a new ticket, get a BOGO. It's called Buy One, Give One tickets. These are super important because it gives other families who can't financially afford these to actually have access to these cooking classes. It's only $15 more than what you're paying, and this can help a lot of people in our community. So tonight we've had 4 people buy BOGO tickets, so thank you to those 4 for helping 4 other families be able to get a class in the future. So thank you guys so much for your support. And also, you can go online again to feedthemass.org. Make sure you guys also go on Instagram, find us, share what you guys are doing, be friends, comment, DM me. I read all the comments, all right? I want you guys talking to me. Tell me about your experiences. And if there's anything that you guys want to learn, because of course this is education, but you have to want to learn these things. And I want to hear what you want to learn. So please remember, like, share, follow us on Instagram, follow us also on YouTube. We're going to be putting all these videos on YouTube free for the community to see how awesome these classes are, and they can be inspired to do more cooking in their own home. And again, if you want to learn more about the FED program, go to feedthemass.org/FED, F-E-D, and you can learn a lot more. And of course, this is Chef Valentine here saying cooking should be easy and with happiness. And I hope to see you again next month. Good night.